when it comes to career development, there are three things that I want you to know about me. Two of which I think will surprise you greatly, if not, dare I say, shock the hell out of you. And the third one, you'll say, yeah, that makes sense. But I really want to give you a different way of looking at it. So I got three things I want to tell you. Two things that I absolutely am not by nature are motivated and creative. I'm not sure I have a creative bone in my body. And I thought long and hard about, is there anything in my life that has ever motivated me? And I couldn't come up with a single thing. And you might be wondering, well, Andy, geez, lack of motivation and no creativity is a rough way to go through life if you want to live a good one and be successful. Does this surprise any of you? I have no motivation and I have no creativity, right? And it surprises a lot of you. So let me tell you why I'm telling you this about these first two things. And I'm not kidding, and I'm not being funny, and I'm not being dramatic for effect. I'm literally telling you something I've never said out loud, but as I pride myself on being very self-aware, and I know what I am and what I'm not. And I thought back on my life all the way back into school. All the way, little guy, all the way to, well, I'm still a little guy, but you know what I mean? I'm an older little guy now. And motivation is very temporary. It really is. Think about, like, I want to lose the weight. I want to be strong. I want to make the team. Why? Why? And I noticed that over time, that motivation, just the incentive to do something, it just never really lasted. But when it came to motivation, I tried to really think about, like, well, what am I? Like, how do I overcome that? And the reason I want to share some of these things with you is because if you want to live a successful life, it requires absolutely no skills and no talents, but it does require some of the things that I use to overcome my lack of motivation for anything in my life. And I would say I'm disciplined. And when I look at cause, effect, consequence, what I want, why I want it, I always wanted to do something that was always going to last. It was never going to wane. I would never get tired of it, kind of thing. And so every time I do something for whatever it is I wanted to achieve, I always thought about, well, how did I achieve it? And it was because I was disciplined. Because every single day I would show up not thinking I want that, but a future me is going to benefit because of this investment that I'm making at this moment for something I care about, not motivated. Separate those feelings. I care that you live a good career, that you can go through. I care. I genuinely care. But that I'm not motivated by that. It's my mission and I care about you. So in order to do that, that means I show up every Thursday. Right? If last week, okay, today's Monday, so Sunday ends the workout week for me. I had 11 workouts last week. 11. I strength trained 3 times, I swam 3 times, I ran 3 times, I got 80 miles of biking in over 2 workouts. How many of those workouts do you think I was motivated to do? Absolutely none. I did not want to work out not one time last week at all. It was something like 15, 16 hours of time under tension. I had a show to prepare for on Thursday. We have a whole workshop we're preparing for. I got a course I'm building. I got a publisher who on Thursday sends me a manuscript in the middle of the morning and says, I need this today because I need the final review, it's going to print, and we got to send it before they had a 4-day holiday because they had Good Friday and today off. And I'm turning that around. And amidst all that stuff, not to mention a whole host of other things and coaching sessions and whatever, I did not want to work out. But that's an investment in me, right? In some of it's present stress relief, some of it's staying in shape, but right, the 58-year-old, the 59-year-old, the 60-year-old me, and so on. Every morning for 102 days straight, I got up to write a book really early. Not one time was I motivated to write. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to you I didn't enjoy what I was doing. I'm saying I wasn't motivated to do it. It was just the thing that needed to be done. And I wasn't motivated at 4:30 or 5 o'clock when I started in the morning, right? I had to work my way into the groove, and it was just an investment because I wanted the book to be done. Because why? Because I want to help you. I'm not driven by money. I'm not driven by fame. I'm not driven by success. I'm not driven by any of that. I just think the world is bigger than I am, and that this, to me, is my mission to help you. I'm not motivated by that. It's just something I care about. So discipline and ingraining that into your life is going to help you. That requires no talent. It requires none. It requires effort, hard work, willpower, right? Those kinds of things, but no skills. Do you follow me? Do you get what I'm saying? I enjoy every minute of my day. I'm just not motivated to get out of bed at that time. I'm tired. I don't want to get up at that time. My wife gets up at that time, and it annoys me to hell that she's so damn cheery. Right? You follow me? If you want something, when it comes to motivation, pick something that isn't going to wane, and then figure out the mechanics of the schedule. I know, can you see this right here? Okay, you can see the glasses and you can see this book. And any of you that have gone through productivity training with me know that on this page right here, where my finger is an inventory of everything that needs to be done this week. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think nothing of it other than it's part of what goes into the planning. That's discipline. The execution, that's discipline to get you what you need and to keep my business in order. Right? That will never change. And then I'm going to enjoy every part. I'm going to enjoy the planning part. I'm going to enjoy the doing part, right? Because the joy is in the doing. That's how you get by. If you cannot figure out a way to plan time into your calendar, do you know what the first thing is that goes on this page? When am I going to work me? Then what's everything else I have to do? So think about that. You could have a pretty good career working really hard at your job, but you will never have a truly, truly great career unless you start working you. And you can't start working you unless you have the discipline. And if you're motivated, that's fine. But every time you're motivated about something, you're going to need to know that it's going to wane at some point. So if you're relying on motivation, there's a difference. I am not motivated. That does not mean I'm not motivating to you. Okay, so you got to separate the two. You got to know what's going to make you successful. That's the first point. The second point is I am not creative. I mean, I think I miss the creative gene. I am an engineer, nothing more than a technician. I don't even mean that in a bad way, a mechanic. And how am I going to create something that is truly unique, rewarding, and valuable? Don't say pretty. Don't say designed. Don't say artistic. That's not what I'm talking about. When I talk about being creative for you in your life, if you want to create something in your life, I've just built a formula. I'm a mechanic. I just built a formula that says, if you ask yourself these questions, if you observe things this way, you will come up with creative ideas. And then what? The discipline has to kick in so that you do it every day or every other or every week or whatever it is. But it's repetition. It's the discipline that will kick in. And the one thing that I am is observant. But you could be observant. It's just pay attention. Put some effort into it. That's all I do. Effort. That's it. And so if you put the time in and you're hardworking, you will become creative. And for those of you that have been through the creativity training with me, there's ways to go about this by asking yourself questions that generate ideas. And it's in the book. I cover this in the book. But there's ways to go through life and observe things that are going to happen, the causes, the effects. Every event has an offspring. And if you are practicing generating ideas, and I don't even need to go into what all that formula is. My point to you is, if you're willing to create the space in your calendar to carve out some time each day to generate those ideas, you will become creative. It's impossible for you not to. And it isn't how brilliant the idea is. It's coming up with enough ideas because some of it's going to hit and some of it's going to fail. And it's the other thing. I'm observant. I'm disciplined. I'm unafraid to fail. This requires no skill. None. Those are no skills required. And I'm telling you this again, because if you're feeling bad about your position in life or where you are or where your life is or probably more like where your life isn't, I'm telling you that there are lots of ways to enjoy this life if you're putting in the work and you put in the reps. And then there's a third component. And this is a really, really big deal. You know that expression, you are, the average of the 5 people you hang out with. I don't know if that's Jim Rome or whoever that is. But it's true. I don't know what the law is, and I don't know why it's the case, but I would speculate that, right? When you are around people that are champions in the way they think, you're going to start thinking like that. It's going to rub off. The same is true for the other people in your life. And for you to be successful, last point here, this is a big deal because this comes to people. The people you surround yourself with. The one thing that I am obsessed with, again, no skill required, just make the decision. You're in my life or you're not in my life. They're either a supporter or a detractor. How are you going to know the people you surround yourself with, whether they're one or the other? I'm going to tell you right now. If you want to be successful and you're going to go up and up and up, when you start giving up stuff that you love, you know you're on the right track. Because if you haven't given up anything that you love, you're not pushing hard enough. And when you start pushing hard enough, what happens? People around you, they don't like you. They like the lazy you, right? They like the average you. That's not you anymore. Not from this moment forward, right? Okay, so how are you going to know? When you talk to your friends and you share your stuff, and I say, God, I can't figure this out. Man, my business, should I be further along by now? I'm not sure what's working. Those damn ads aren't working or whatever. There's going to be one of a couple responses. Okay? The person who says, geez, Andy, why don't you slow down? Take it easy. Maybe that's not for you. Cut them right then. But the person that says, how can I help? Have you tried this? That person's a supporter. The bells are going to go off. You're going to start hearing these things now because you're going to have to create space in your life. And creating space means sacrifices, and it usually happens with people. And the faster you get rid of the dead weight in your life, whoever they are, the better off you'll be. And I know it's hard. It is hard. I didn't say any of this was going to be easy. Hell no, this is going to be the meanest, toughest thing you ever had to do. But if you can't do it, it's never going to happen. So I saw it. I saw it over the course of building the Mile Walk Academy, what I had to sacrifice. The dinners with friends. Okay, so that wasn't too painful. Time with my real close friends. That was a little more painful. The golf game. I'm working a lot on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm real tired. I'm not as motivated to golf anymore. Wasn't even motivated to begin with. Right kind of thing, but I loved it. Okay, it's got to go. What else has got to go? I say no to so many things that I used to say yes to, and I simply can't. And I'm not some famous guy or anything, and I'm not, right? Sacrifices are necessary. So I want you to realize that. You don't need to be motivated. You need to be disciplined. Discipline will carry the day. You don't need to be creative. You need to put the time in to think creatively. And the other thing is you need to surround yourself with the right people, because this journey, if you really engage in it, is going to take time. Meaning it's going to take time for you to put time in to learn the skills and practice them, and whatever it is, because you're going to channel those into the things you care about. And in order to do that, you're gonna need to surround yourself with the right kind of people. It's amazing how I genuinely feel like you will never have a how problem as long as you don't have a who problem, right? That, to me, you will never need to worry about how to do something if you are surrounded by the right who's. Does that make sense? You might hear me say occasionally, that's not a how problem, that's a who problem. You get the right who's around you. I'm talking about your friends, your colleagues, your coaches, your trainers, whoever, doctors, lawyers, whoever, right? Whatever it is, your support team. You will never need to worry. Somebody will always be able to carry you forward whenever you need help. Okay? So those are the 3 things I wanted to share. And I think if you channel those into your development and make that part of, right? Discipline, stay in sync with what you're doing. Don't give up. Make time for creativity and make sure you are constantly curating who you surround yourself with. All right? So that is my lesson for the day. I hope you enjoyed that.